Hey everyone! Before the story begins, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and stay with me until the end. This one unfolds slowly, and every detail matters. I found the condoms on a gray Tuesday morning in Milan, when the city was still shaking off the rain. They were tucked neatly into the inner pocket of Sophia's leather purse, the one I had given her on our 5th anniversary. I wasn't snooping at first. I was looking for the car keys, late for work, irritated at myself and the world. The zipper caught, the purse tipped, and there they were. 3 silver packets, cool and unmistakable against the dark lining. We hadn't used condoms in years. For a long moment, I just stood there in the narrow hallway of our apartment near Porta Romana, the smell of espresso drifting from the kitchen, the distant sound of a tram screeching on wet tracks. My reflection stared back at me from the hallway mirror. 42 years old, tired eyes, the same sharp nose my father had, the same quiet patience that had ruined him. I didn't confront her, not then. Something old and heavy stirred in my chest, a familiar ache shaped like restraint. My father had found letters once, love letters my mother never meant him to see. He'd confronted her that night, shouting until the neighbors banged on the walls. 2 months later, he was dead of a heart attack, alone in the factory office that had been slowly stolen from him by his own brothers. Rage had consumed him quickly. I had learned early that anger wasted itself if released too soon. So instead, I drove to work and thought. That evening, after Sophia fell asleep, I opened the wooden box where we kept our wedding photographs. Lake Como, late spring, her smile luminous, my hand resting lightly at her waist, as if I were afraid she might vanish. I chose one photo carefully, the one where she was laughing at something I'd whispered, her eyes fixed only on me. The next morning, I slipped that photo into her purse and removed the condoms. I waited. Sophia had always been ambitious. She worked in cultural management, overseeing private galleries and museum partnerships, moving easily through Milan's polished circles. Lately, she'd been coming home later, her excuses smoother, her phone always face down. When she kissed me, it was affectionate, almost tender, but hollowed out like a performance learned by heart. Her mother, Chiara, noticed before I did. Chiara lived alone in Bergamo now, widowed, sharp-eyed, and sharper-tongued. Over lunch one Sunday, she watched Sophia with the quiet intensity of a woman who had survived betrayal and learned its patterns. "You're thinner," Chiara said to her daughter, and distracted. Sophia smiled. "Work." Chiara's gaze flicked to me. "Work can be a lover," she said, "but it's rarely faithful." That afternoon, Chiara pulled me aside while Sophia was on the balcony. "You look like your father," she said softly, "like you're carrying something alone." I thought of telling her. Instead, I asked, "Did Sophia ever mention a man named Lorenzo Bianchi?" Chiara stiffened. "Her uncle." "He's not her uncle," I said. "He's her biological father." The words hung between us, heavy with decades of silence. Chiara sat down slowly. "You weren't supposed to know, but I did. I had known for years. Sophia's legal father, the man whose surname she carried, had died believing he was infertile. The truth was buried in family records, hushed conversations, a shame preserved like an heirloom. Lorenzo Bianchi was now a powerful real estate developer, reshaping neighborhoods, erasing histories, buying silence. Sophia worked for one of his foundations. The pieces began to align. Her sudden promotions, the discreet transfers, the dinners she never described, and the condoms. I began my work quietly. As an urban planner for the municipality, I had access to zoning proposals, heritage assessments, environmental reports. I saw how Lorenzo's projects skirted regulations, how historical buildings were reclassified, how inspectors were replaced just before key approvals. I also saw Sophia's name, subtle but present, in the coordination emails. I spoke to no one about it, not Chiara, not my sister Elena, who had her own scars from family betrayals and trusted no one completely. I observed, I documented, I waited. Autumn arrived, and with it, the opening gala of a new private gallery in Brera, funded by Lorenzo's foundation. Sophia insisted I attend. "It would mean a lot," she said, smoothing her dress. "People will notice if you're not there." At the gallery, Surrounded by minimalist art and expensive wine, I watched Sophia move through the crowd with practiced grace. Then I saw him, Lorenzo. Tall, silver-haired, his presence commanding without effort. When his eyes met mine, I felt a strange calm. He knew who I was. Later that night, Sophia confronted me at home. Her face was pale, her voice shaking. "Did you put that photo in my purse?" "Yes." "Why?" she demanded. "So you'd remember," I said, "before things go too far." Her silence was answer enough. Winter pressed in hard that year. Milan turned inward, gray and sharp-edged. I leaked information anonymously to a journalist in Turin. Documents that showed conflicts of interest, undeclared familial ties, public funds diverted through private channels. The story grew slowly, cautiously. Names were withheld at first. Then questions were asked in council meetings. Sophia grew distant, then frantic. "You're trying to ruin us," she said one night, tears streaking her mascara. "You don't understand what he did for me." "I understand exactly," I replied. "He gave you what your family denied you. Power, recognition. And what about you?" she asked bitterly. "What did you give me?" The answer hurt because it was simple. Loyalty. The scandal broke in early spring. Lorenzo was forced to resign from multiple boards. Investigations opened. His empire began to crack, not collapse, but enough. Enough for the truth to surface, whispered at first, then spoken aloud. Sophia moved out before the divorce papers arrived. Chiara stopped speaking to her entirely. The family secret, once buried, now poisoned every conversation. On the day the divorce was finalized, I walked alone along the Navigli canals. The water reflected the sky, fractured and restless. I felt no triumph, only release. Weeks later, Sophia called. Her voice was calm, resigned. "Did it make you feel better?" she asked. I thought of my father, of my mother's letters, of a lifetime of quiet endurance mistaken for weakness. "It made me feel honest," I said. When I returned home, I found the wedding photo on the table. She had left it behind. I placed it back in the wooden box, closed the lid, and opened the window. Outside, the city breathed, unchanged, indifferent, and for the first time in a long while, so did I.